Over the last 3 years or so, I've been to some incredible places. I've cycled in the Italian Alps with friends, climbing the Stelvio Pass. I've been to India and seen the Taj Mahal and a mad cosmic barber called Baba. I've been to New York City, Washington DC and Nashville. I've been down under in Sydney and across to New Zealand. But the most incredible place of all has been Nepal. But I only got to look at the Himalayas from afar, and so now I've decided it's time to go back to Nepal. Back to the Himalayas, back to see those incredible peaks, but this time I'll be walking within them. So then, Glasgow to Kathmandu via Dubai. I arrive in Dubai at 8:30 in the morning and it's something stupid like 26 degrees already. I should probably take this down jacket off. On the bus to the plane, I get a glimpse of the Burj Khalifa. The flight from Dubai to Kathmandu was pretty smooth, and to be honest with you, I'd arrived at Tribhuvan International Airport with the hope that things would continue to go smoothly. But of course, it has a reputation of being one of the world's worst international airports, and it kind of lived up to its reputation, to be honest with you. It took an hour and a half or so to get into the country. The computers at the immigration desks were all down. Nobody really knew what they were doing. There was lots of confusion and huge queues to get in. But once I got in, I picked up my bag and jumped in a taxi to Tamil, the central district of Kathmandu. On the way in the taxi, I remembered that I didn't really know any Nepali at all, but I did know 2 words in Hindi.
Namaste Mother Chod, that's it. Hello motherfuckers. That's the extent of my Hindi, which is no good here of course because I speak Nepali here, but this is the vibrant nightlife of Tamil in Kathmandu. As you can see, it's absolutely raving here.
I decided it was time to get some food, and so I went in search of some restaurants. I heard some familiar music coming from a backstreets restaurant.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Well, at least here I managed to sample some of the local food, and a type of food that was going to help me get through the next few weeks. All fed and watered, I soon realised that I had until 2 o'clock in the morning to wait for my bus to Ramchap. A text come through saying that it was now being pushed back to 3 o'clock. What on earth was I going to do? So I began a quest to one of the more popular nightclubs in the city. But before I did, I had to reassure my mum that all was well.
Right, it's that time of night to scare the shit out of my mother.
With that reassurance, it was time to begin my quest.
Anyone fancy the Cheshire Centre Playboy Lounging Club at all?
No, not that one.
This way to Mordor. Let's go clubbing.
I'd been thinking about the kind of weird stuff that I could do outside this nightclub.
Okay, we're at Kathmandu's nightlife. This is a dead end, which means we're going to go back into the nightclub. This is Lord of the Drinks. Which sounds phenomenal. I think I've mixed up my holiday from last year when I went to New Zealand. Cycling around Mordor, it's not good enough. You need to come to Kathmandu instead. There's only one Lord of the Drinks, only one who can mix them to his will, and he does not share lager.
I'd had my geek moment for the trip, and now it was time to catch the bus. I walked along the street, and there was a group of hikers waiting.
Here's the Black Yak. I take it that's the equivalent of the Red Lion.
The bus to Ramchap took about 4 hours or so, up and down mountain passes, roads that followed rivers around, through valleys. It was quite an incredible little road, built by the Japanese for state aid, but it was still quite a bumpy ride.
It's 5:24 in the morning, and we've had a toilet break, and I've not a Scooby where we are. In the middle of Nepal somewhere. Hell of a bumpy ride on the way. Right, we've made it. It's a Ramchap, 1,619 feet, and we're going to go much higher than that.
So I made it to Ramchap Airport. I soon realised that it was literally just a runway and a make-do building, or a makeshift building if you like. Check-in desks were all outside, bag security was inside, with not much room for anything else, to be honest. Even after you checked in the check-in baggage, your hand baggage was searched in what appeared to be a converted toilet. Why do I suspect this? Well, the traditional men and women symbols above what would have been the toilet doors. And then came the moment when my plane arrived.
This is our flight to Lukla.
This wasn't a bad dream. This was real. I was off to the world's most dangerous airport, Lukla.
I can get to choose the window seat.
A few minutes after takeoff, the big hills that surrounded Ramchap soon made way for some enormous peaks, some monstrous peaks, including Chotoyu, the sixth highest mountain in the world, and a certain Mount Everest, which I could see looming in the distance through a plane window on the opposite side to the one that I was sat on.
To Lukla, the world's most dangerous airport. Here we go. Up the hill.
Right, hi everyone, it's Callan. We're at Lukla. The airport is down there, the world's most dangerous airport. Just flew in safely. Stunning white peaks all around me. Already seen Everest very briefly from the other side of the plane, and just having a nice cuppa and a bit of breakfast and porridge because I'm in the Scottish restaurant.
There was nothing really Scottish about the place, apart from one thing, of course, that was inevitable.
Ask them. What was
I know a
that?
few people who would like this back home. Okay, this is the first proper bridge that's looking rather comfy and stable. Yeah.
Despite setting off fairly late in the morning, I still managed to trek 5 miles to Patthar. It took me a few hours though, and I was really disappointed in my effort at the time. I didn't realise that altitude would affect me at this elevation so much. I'd already been to a similar elevation when I climbed the Stelvio Pass in Italy, but I had to remember that I was only there for a few minutes before descending. I was here, in Patthar, permanently at this elevation, and my body was letting me know. I wanted to continue, but as I made my way up through Patthar, a Sherpa stood outside one of the tea houses, and he could see that I was tired. He called me in, and I took his advice, thankfully. I decided not to continue, and so I settled in Patthar for the night. Once I got in and settled down, I started recording my video update for people back home.
Morning all, day 2, Patthar to Namche Bazaar. It's quite clear. Well, there's a couple of, there's quite a large cloud actually up there, but no, it's quite clear in general. Picked nippy this morning, heated up quite quickly actually. So that's it, ready to go. Solar panel, look at that, makeshift kind of charging thing on my bag there. Hopefully that'll be secure. Plenty of water, keep going. I've got a filtration system, so I'm not had to pay for any water so far. Just taken it out of taps and filtered it, and it's all good. All good. Not feeling sick. A bit grotty last night. It was almost like waking up like you have a hangover. After a couple of drinks, it was not too bad. So I'm gonna get going. Namche Bazaar 6.5 miles away. Munro is the checkpoint to get into Sagarmatha National Park. That's about 3.5 miles away. And there's a couple of smaller, tiny hamlets kind of in between here and there, so should all be good. And hopefully I would have acclimatised a little bit now, so hopefully it should be a bit more straightforward than yesterday. Fingers crossed. I think there's an hour or 2 hour climb up to Namche, which is quite hard, but should be okay. Anyway, let's go. Okay, this is the first bridge that we're gonna cross over this river, which I've no idea what it's called. But we're just, I don't know, half a kilometre from Patthar, literally just left, so it's very quiet, nobody's on the trail at all.
Every time I crossed a suspension bridge, Monty Python would come into my head.
Let us cross the bridge of death. You must answer the 3 questions. 5 questions, no 3 questions. What is your favourite colour? Wow. Don't want to drop my camera in that's for sure. But
Up ahead I can see a yak train coming down. What I didn't realise is that I was going to be stuck here for about 5 minutes or so. After the first one passed, another came along, and then another, and then another.
Lovely. This is just unbelievably beautiful. Not just because of that stream, or that river, those rapids. It's because of that peak up there. It is enormous. That is just extraordinary. No idea what it's called, but there we go.
The mountain was called Tamzaku.
Man, look at that peak up there. Absolute monster. And Everest dwarfs that by comparison.
Yes, the scenery was spectacular and the mountains absolutely incredible, but the waterfalls really caught my eye. A couple of them on the way to Munro were really impressive. Speaking of Munro, time for lunch.
Okay, so this is Munro. This is about halfway between Patthar and Namche Bazaar, a little bit further than halfway. I think it's about 3.5 miles to this point and another 3 miles from here to Namche Bazaar, but it's hell of a climb to get up here, so you really do notice it now with the altitude.
After I finished my lunch, I made my way up through the rest of Munro, up towards the checkpoint, the entry into Sagarmatha National Park.
Okay, so this is us at the entrance to Sagarmatha National Park. For those of you wondering what the hell Sagarmatha is, it's what the Nepalese call Everest. It's also known as Chomolungma by the Tibetan people.
You follow the riverbank round for a while before a series of steps take you up to Suspension Bridge. At the beginning of the Suspension Bridge, there's a notice which says Namche Bazaar, 4 kilometres to go. It's quite deceptive. You know you're going uphill for a long time, but 2.5 miles roughly? Well, that's not going to take too long. That wouldn't take long in Scotland to walk that, even with a couple of hills thrown in. Wrong. With the lack of oxygen, it took me nearly 2.5 hours, maybe even 3 hours, it may have been, to get up this thing. The final few hundred metres of this climb were absolutely brutal, your body literally crying out for oxygen. But I realised along the way that I might have a little bit of a saviour.
Okay, I've found my noble steed, my lovely stallion. I could be like Gandalf, just riding up now to Namche instead. Probably look a bit creepy. Probably get told off as well for riding the horse, but there we go. But the hat though, well, kind of. I mean, his hat was a bit pointier, but there we go. Come here, little horse. Let me ride you. Hard.
I continued to struggle up Namche Hill until I got sight of the Everest viewpoint. Great, I thought, I'd be able to see her and get a bit of motivation to carry on up the rest of the climb. Unfortunately, she was covered in cloud. A bit demoralising, to be honest with you. There was also hardly anybody there. By contrast, on the way down, the place was rammed, and it was a beautiful clear day. You could see her in all her majesty.
Oh, I'm at Namche Bazaar, where the entrance to it. My word, what a tough trek. It's not... See, if it wasn't for the lack of oxygen, it would actually be not too bad. Okay, it's reasonable, but I feel comfortable in every sense. Knees, legs, shoulder, everything feels completely comfortable. No problems at all. It's just that every few steps you take, your body doesn't allow you to go any further. You have to stop and breathe. It's insane. It's like being on the bike doing a time trial with your heart rate, pretty much at max, and you're breathing, constantly, but being comfortable, which obviously you never are in a time trial.
I'd made it to Namche Bazaar. What a relief and what a place. Set in an amphitheatre, if you like, with a 20,000 foot mountain, Kong Di Ri, on the side that was pretty much open. This big village seemed like a small city, to be honest with you, compared to any place that I'd been to on the trek so far and thereafter. As you entered the village proper, there was a massive water feature with multiple prayer wheels that were turned automatically by water, which was cascading down. The standard prayer wheel along the trek is fitted with a bell which chimes after every revolution of the prayer wheel. However, I think on this water feature they'd all been removed, and probably with good reason given how fast some of them were turning due to the water. As I continued to make my way up through the village, I realised the place was just going to get better and better. There was a mountain hardware shop with an interior that was you would expect from the same kind of shop in any western city. There were European cafes along there. There was the world's highest Irish bar, and then it seemed like there was actually a bit of nightlife about the place. Bright neon lights. Nothing that I'd ever seen before in the places that I'd been to along the trek so far.
Fuck you.
Okay, namaste everyone. This is what the hell's it called? It's Namche Bazaar. This is 3,440 metres high, about 11,210 I think it is feet. There's what I think is Kong Di. As you say, I'm kind of assuming a lot of things here. I think it's Kong Di Ri or Kong Di. It's a mountain about 5,600, 5,700 metres high, I think. It's been hiding ever since I got here. And it's now starting to make an appearance. You see all the snow and the tiny glaciers up there. It's pretty stunning. But there's a baby around here compared to the likes of Mount Everest, which we're going to see, or hopefully we'll see. Let's see if she's hiding in the clouds or whether she's actually clear. We're going to go to a place called Everest View Hotel, and on the face of it, when you look at the pictures, it looks pretty spectacular, the view.
Correction, 6,187 metres or 20,299 feet. None of the peaks were actually on display really that day, apart from Lhotse and a quick glimpse of Ambadablum. The cloud just completely covered them.
Oh, I'm knackered. Say hello to this wee guy. Hello. Oh man, right, okay, we are at, what are we at? Let's have a look. Oh wait, no, 3,700 metres. I need to go a bit further than this.
As I made my way up to Kumjung, I was constantly checking my Garmin for the elevation, and with quite good reason actually. I was going higher than some of the world's most famous mountains.
I bet you never thought the summit of Mount Tidy in Tenerife would look anything like this. And you'd be right, because we're actually not there. But this is the same elevation as the summit of Mount Tidy. Do tell us more, Callan. Well, children, let us join me on my wonderful mountain elevation journey of discovery. Okay, just around the corner from the summit of Mount Tidy, we have the summit of Mount Cook, or Araki? I can't remember how you pronounce it. I went there last year anyway, when I went to New Zealand, cycled towards it. Unbelievably imposing mountain, but we're at the same elevation right now as the summit, and perhaps not as picturesque, but hey ho, on to the next mountain. Okay, final mountain elevation of today, 3,776 metres, which means this is the same elevation as Mount Fuji in Japan, the very famous volcano. There's some dogs there, you don't find those at Mount Fuji.
The maximum elevation that day, 3,870 metres, with Dingboche the following day only being slightly higher than that. I was pretty happy. I made my way back to Namche, and it was too dark to do some tour videos of the place for people back home. I managed to do some on the way back, and so I'll include them though actually, so you can see what the place is like before we venture on.
Right, okay, this is Namche Bazaar. I didn't expect to hear Bruno Mars or 50 Cent playing, but hey ho, I'm going to show you around. This is the Irish pub in here. This is where the Sherpa Loyal Rangers Supporters Club meet. Doggy do. This is brilliant. This is superb. The prayer wheel being turned by the water. Fucking mental. There's a whole set of them down here. Some of them are turning, some are not. And then you've got the stupa there. This is a cracking bit of Namche. We have to get rid of that. Okay, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, up ahead lies a mountain higher than anything else on the planet, and I'm looking at it. Actually, I'm not looking at it right now because it's covered in cloud, but Lukla, which is the fourth highest, next to it, is there. I can see it. It's absolutely breathtaking. That's another one for a helicopter evacuation. Okay, it's been a good morning. It's just gone about 20 past 12. I left at 9 this morning, covered about 3.5. No, hang on. Covered about 4 miles or so, I think, at the moment. Been a better pace than normal the past couple of days, so quite good. It's been uphill from Namche and then sort of up and down, kind of rolling terrain, and then a big downhill. But now going up to Dingboche, across this bridge and then up over there into the distance, so it's going to take probably, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half tops to climb this thing.
An hour to climb this thing? I think not, Callan. Let's go for 2 hours, shall we? Hindsight's a good thing. And so began the long climb up to Dingboche. As I'd acclimatised, do you know, it didn't actually seem as bad as Namche Hill, I must be honest with you. But it was still a hell of a hill. It still took a good hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours to get up this thing. It just seemed to go on and on and on. And the thing was, you couldn't really see much on the other side. There was no mountain peaks really to inspire you, apart from maybe Cong de Ri looking back towards Namche. They were all blocked as you made your way up the side of this hill. But then once I got to the top, they all revealed themselves. Actually, when I got to the top, it wasn't anything like that. It was covered in cloud and you could barely see 100 metres in front of you. That footage was shot on the way down.
Okay, right, boys and girls, we are in Dingboche, which is a kind of very holy monastery kind of place. As you can see here, this is my crib. Yes, let's have a look inside. Jesus Christ. Right, here we go. Look at this. Baby wipes for when things get dirty later on. Check this out for a toilet. Look at this. This is absolutely incredible. You've actually got to kneel and flush yourself. And yeah, as is standard around here, the shit paper goes in the bin. Yeah. So that's it. On a positive note, the monastery is up there. I might go and pay a visit in a minute. As you can see, it is absolutely covered in cloud, this place. It was gorgeous early on.
It's just as well the following morning made up for that cloud upon arrival. I woke to the most stunning view that I think I'd ever seen up until that point.
Good morning from Dingboche. As you can see, the cloud has gone, and there is Mount Everest poking up just behind that huge massive wall of rock, snow and ice with Nuptse and Lutse. We're going to get much better views of it when we walk round, but this is absolutely stunning. And look at Amadablam. That is absolutely phenomenal. This is the monastery over here. And this is where we came up yesterday, up here. Namche Bazaar's just round the corner here, tucked in. Kongdi. Around there. And then Tobushe, up there, very, very holy mountain, I think, the monastery. And fucking look at that. Good lord.
So before I set off, I decided to visit the monastery. Despite the official opening, I was saying that the place was closed. A few people had already been in before me and come out and advised that you could go in, as long as you were quiet.
So, I've just been inside the monastery and they're doing all the humming and they're chanting at the moment, and it was absolutely breathtaking. And then when I walked in, literally about 10 seconds in, they all started playing their instruments, and it was fucking excuse me, it was fucking loud, really, really, really loud, and just like, whoa, just unbelievable noise in there. And then they start doing the chanting again and all the humming, doing all the mantras and stuff, and it's just unbelievable. It's the most incredible religious thing I've ever seen, witnessed.
So with the monastery ticked off, it was time to set off again on the trek. Today's journey would take me from Dingboche, up through Pangboche, eventually on to Dingboche. There's too many botches in this part of the world, I figured. As soon as you leave Dingboche, you go down this really steep hill. You go down for about 10-15 minutes, and then you come to the first settlement. I got quite a surprise with one of the names of the lodges.
It appears that Rivendell's actually a real place underneath Everest. Didn't think that was really in Tolkien's plan. But here we are, Rivendell Lodge Dingboche. First of all, we had Lord of the Drinks in Kathmandu, and now we've got Rivendell under Everest. Yeah, that's a destroyed bridge, probably from the earthquake, I would imagine, back in 2015. But we're on a bridge, and there is the mighty Amadablam. Something like 22,000 something feet. Yeah, unbelievable.
Often referred to as the Matterhorn of the Himalayas, Amadablam is easily the most beautiful mountain that I've ever seen.
Everest is just about to disappear, I think, when we walk a little bit further. She's gonna go right behind Nuptse. Noops. Just see the summit poking out there in the cloud. Nuptse in front of it, and Lutse.
Pangboche lay ahead, but beyond that, things were about to get tricky with the altitude.
Okay, so I'm at the crossroads now between, the junction, if you like, between Dingboche and Periche. I'm going to Dingboche, which is a bit higher. However, the altitude has started to get to me. We're at 4,020 meters according to this sign. My Garmin says a little bit more. But yeah, I'm starting to feel it a little bit. So only about another mile and a half to Dingboche. But a mile and a half up here is quite a distance. Well, it's not quite a distance, but it's a long time. Should we say it's a long time to walk, especially when you've been walking all day. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a bash. I know what it is. A mile and a half. I can picture that around Paisley. You know, like from my flat to my old flat and halfway back. You know, it's nothing. But yeah, up here it's a real struggle. It's actually over there in the corner. You can see it over here, going up this bit trail in there, and I think it's in there, or it might be slightly further up. I'm hoping it's around the corner there. So underneath Nupse and Lutse, and what a morning that will be to wake up to. And I wouldn't have them.
Hello, it's me. I was wondering if I could have a lovely cup of tea. Oh god. The pictures are amazing, but it's fucking horrific.
Well, I'm not sure that's quite how Adele's song Hello goes, but hey ho.
Oh my god, good lord. Hello, I made it to Dingboche. We're about 4,410, between 4,410 and 4,440, I think this village is. So it's about just over 14,000 feet. So basically, the big massive mountain outside Lhotse, the fourth highest mountain in the world, we're halfway of that in terms of elevation. So there's the exact same distance between me and the summit of that, and me and sea level. Oh god. Well, today we've done a huge amount of elevation gain. But it's not an awful lot. Say if it was at sea level, it's only about what we done, about 550-ish, 550 meters. So yeah, so probably about, I don't know, what's that, at least, yeah, probably about 1,800 feet, I'm gonna say, roughly, yeah. But oh god, just fucking murder. Just the last 300 meters, especially the last 200 meters were a fucking nightmare. Like, your body is just crying out for oxygen, and it's just hellish. And I ran low on water as well. I've gone through, what have I gone through? 3 litres of water today so far, just on that trek. Plus a couple of cups of tea and stuff, and fucking dehydrated. I need to get some water, and just chill the fuck out. I'm gonna spend 2 nights here. This is slightly off the beaten path from the Everest Base Camp Trek.
When I got in, I started recording my video for people back home. However, about 2/3 of the way in, I experienced an all too common problem in Nepal.
Started to get what I thought was a headache. We all struggled to get to the end, but thankfully got there in the end. And the lights have gone out. Oh, the electricity's gone. Oh, that's brilliant. Welcome to Nepal. Okay, I'm going to carry on this anyway and talking. So yeah, so I got to the lodge. Checked into a random lodge. Chukhung Valley, I think it is. Something like that anyway. We're going to go and see Makalu, which is around the corner, which is the 5th highest mountain on the planet, and the electricity is back. Yes, fucking yes. So we're going to see Makalu, and then we're going to go, and then it's gone again. It's brilliant. Oh dear. So we're going to go and see Makalu, and then maybe try and go as high as I can on this acclimatisation day before we start back on the Everest Base Camp Trek.
Hi guys, we're in a place, we're just coming up to a place called Chukhung, which is pretty much the furthest settlements you can get in this valley. That's Island Peak up ahead, which is a metre shy of Denali in North America, the highest mountain in North America. Over there is Makalu, the 5th highest mountain in the world.
The mountain that I point out here as being Makalu was actually Barunsi. I'd already seen Makalu on a Mount Everest flight tour 3 years ago, and I remembered it being further east by about 10-15 miles, much bigger and more isolated. But Barunsi was in the right direction.
That's Lutse, 4th highest mountain in the world. That's Nupse up there, just shy of 8,000 metres. And there's a wee pass, not pass, but there's a wee climb up there called Chukhung Ri, just above the village, if you can see. And that's going to be an acclimatisation climb. We're going to see just how far we can get up it. Not expecting to go the full way, but we're going to try and see how far we can get. And that's Amadabon from the back. And that's where we've come from down there. It's absolutely unbelievable. And there's Manuel. We've been joking about my Spanish name, Juan Care.
Manuel and I met the previous night in the tea house that we stopped in, and we would trek together for the next 4 days. Whilst I was trekking independently, I was actually glad that I'd finally managed to get somebody to trek with me. The support and the encouragement that we both gave each other right up to base camp and coming, the first day coming back down before we parted ways was absolutely crucial. It was so uplifting as well, and also quite demoralising whenever he would walk ahead. And I was carrying this big backpack, but it kept me going. Definitely. 2 things I was concerned about up there. One, the dog, which I was convinced was going to die. I had no idea that it was a Sherpa dog at the time until Manuel told me later in the evening. I was tempted to rescue it and take it down. I was like, come with me! So that, and then also how to do bullet time on the Insta360 The following day, we would set off to Dingboche, which would take us past 2 really impressive peaks, Dingboche and Cholatse.
This is absolutely breathtaking. It's extraordinary. This is Jolats. Sorry, no, this is Dingboche, and that is Jolats. Both well over 6,000 meters. I think they're about 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", something like that. Extraordinary. Now, what's going to happen now, we're going to go down to that wee tea house kind of place there, and then we've got the climb up to the Khumbu Glacier, and we've just lost Pumori. We've just lost sight of Pumori there. Pumori is basically the mountain that sits above Patthar, which is the highest point we're going to. A little black rock just beneath Pumori and above base camp. So yes, that was pretty exciting to see. It's like, well, that's the end destination. So all good. What else? We've pretty much lost sight of Amadablam now, which is a bit of a shame, but hopefully once we get on top of the Khumbu ice, we might still be able to see it just. Not too sure. We shall see, but this is absolutely sensational.
The tiny hamlet of Lukla consisted of about 2 or 3 tea houses, and everybody appeared to be going for lunch there. It was so expensive, as you'd probably expect, to be honest with you. But once you left Lukla, there was this brutal wee hill, which went up about 200 metres. At the top, there was the Everest Memorial, as well as a stunning view. But Scott Fisher's memorial was there, I found. The legendary American mountaineer who died in the 1996 storm on Everest, that brutal storm that killed 12 people.
So this is the grave of the legendary Scott Fisher, who died in that 1996 storm, along with I think 11 of us. I think yes, 12 in total. I think that died in that horrific storm. Absolutely legendary mountaineer. Om Mani Padme Hum. Lovely Buddhist mantra.
Eventually, Manuel and I made it to Dingboche, where we settled for the night. The following morning, we embarked on the 3-mile journey to Gorak Chep, the final settlement along the Everest Base Camp Trek, which was used as the original base camp.
This is when you realise how incredible the Sherpas are when they're carrying that up. Good grief. That's extraordinary.
It took us 3 hours to get to Gorak Chep. The reason? Traffic jams of people, yaks and donkeys, on a really slow path anyway. Literally steps and rocks and undulating terrain. Along the way, huge frustrations.
Unbelievably fucking slow. Like literally fucking traffic jams, and then there's a yak train coming up as well in a minute. That's the toughest 2.5 miles I think I've ever done in my life. That was fucking brutal. Oh my god, but we're here. It's Gorak Chep, and there's Patthar. That's the highest we're gonna go, 18,500 feet. And there is Everest Base Camp down there at the Khumbu Icefall. Oh man, that was brutal. 20 kilogram backpack. Don't take a 20 kilogram backpack. I did because I thought I would like a challenge, and it's almost broke me. You can probably get away with about 10 to 15 kilograms, I'd say. We have done well, Manuel. Oh my god, good lord. What an effort.
We'd made it, but there was no rest for the wicked. In the afternoon, we set off for base camp. We left our big bags in Gorak Chep and took our day packs to base camp. It felt unbelievably light by comparison. It was around 2 to 2.5 miles to base camp, which was a similar distance from Dingboche to Gorak Chep, but with the day packs our pace increased dramatically.
Ooh, I can hear that thunder. It is an avalanche, yeah.
Walking to and from base camp, we heard several avalanches, and they all appeared to be coming from Everest. Avalanches occur often on Everest, posing a serious threat to the climbers who climb up the standard routes between Everest and Lhotse. However, we were really safe out here. There were no one near us. Everest Base Camp was brilliant, and there's a big black rock which basically has Everest Base Camp written on the side of it. Everybody takes their pictures in front of it, including me. Yes, the ranger shirt had to go on.
Okay, so we're here, Everest Base Camp. Everest is up there. You can see it. That's Pumori. No idea what that one is. No idea what that one is. That's Jiangxi from China. And then Everest up there. Dingboche and Chukhung. Look at the size of these ice blocks here. Oh wow, it's actually not too bad. It's well, the scenery is fantastic, but I'm not the temperature. It's not too bad at the moment, although give it a couple of hours and it'll be absolutely Baltic. Glacier, there's going to be ice fall up there, the most dangerous part, really, apart from the death zone. I just come back from Everest Base Camp, and tomorrow we're going to Patthar. Dum dum dum. Up there, the little black rock as it's called, that's the literal translation, the black rock. And above it is the magnificent Pamori. Absolutely unbelievable wee peak, 7,100 metres or something I think. And it's as steep as fuck. And over there, over towards base camp, not sure what those two peaks are, but then you got Changst over there. Changste, or Changxi, let me pronounce it. That's over in China, that's in Tibet. That's the border, literally this ridge here is the border between Nepal and Tibet and China. And that's it, and then loads to say there. Oh, and you can actually see Everest. There we go. There is Everest.
To help better understand the scale of this place, it's worth noting that Ben Nevis, the highest mountain in the UK, rises 1,345 metres above sea level. The base to peak height is pretty much that as well. By comparison, Pamori, which sits behind Patthar, rises above Patthar by some 1,517 metres, going off Wikipedia, and that's rounding it up to the nearest metre. That night it dropped down to minus 15 degrees Celsius, but inside my sleeping bag I was pretty warm. The following morning, I, along with pretty much everybody else in the place, woke up at about 4 o'clock in the morning to attempt Patthar. It was only a mile walk, but it was steep, and it took about 2 hours to get up there. As I made my way up to the hill, I could already see plenty of torches working their way up the hillside, but by the time I got about halfway up there were now hundreds of people on the climb. Torches in front of me, torches all behind me. Every step I took, I needed a breath. By the time I got to the top, there was only 50% of the oxygen compared to sea level there. Was it cold? You bet. But the view, my word, it was worth it. Seeing sunrise over Everest and the other peaks nearby is an experience that I will never forget.
Mate, it's Patthar. We're about 18,500 feet up. 5,600 something. There's Mount Everest.
शेर्पाले त आइडिया त राम्रो जानु पनि भाइ शेर्पा डान्स गर्दाखेरि हात खुट्टा नै तात्ने है अनि त यसो गर्यो गर्दै यो पाकेर मेरो भेनिकी भेक्यु के हुन्छ बाउदी कतिमा मलाई यो पोहोरको उसमा सेप्टेम्बरतिर अपर मस्ताङ जाँदा चाहिँ तेह्र जना थियो एकजना किर्तिपुरको रूपक महार्जन भन्ने चाहिँ इटालियन स्पिकिङ म र एकजना राई भाइ असिस्टेन्ट जोमसँग आएपछि त्यो केटीले दियो अनि एकजना
It's freezing, it's absolutely Baltic. Never known a cold like it, but this is incredible. See it? There she is.
As I made my way down Patthar, several helicopters came overhead. As I stood and watched them, I reflected on what an incredible journey it had been.
Okay, I was meant to do this video at the top of Patthar, but it was too cold, so I've decided to do it just before we go back to Gorak Chep. What an amazing journey it's been. The next 3 or 4 days we're going to walk straight back to Lukla, and from there I've got a flight to Pokhara, which is the second city of Nepal. I'm going to go and see more spectacular mountains in the form of Annapurna, Dhaulagiri and Manaslu. They are all 8,000 meter mountains. They are humongous, just like that thing over there, Everest. Yeah, amazing journey, absolutely loved it. Getting up to 18,500 feet, roughly 5,600 something meters, I think. Yeah, absolutely unbelievable journey, just incredible. Anyway, take care, and it's been amazing.